I was reading up about you at the library, and I was absolutely amazed to read this, is that, because I stutter occasionally when I get excited, but I didn't realize when you were young that you had a severe problem with that.
I still am a stutterer, and I have not heard you stutter yet this morning. I have several times, and I lost the power of speech altogether around the age of 4.5. It was too painful and too embarrassing to talk, so I abandoned it and didn't pick it up again until around 14.
Well, how much work did it take for you to be able to handle that, to deal with it?
I had a good English teacher in high school who discovered that I wrote poetry secretly, and he said, if you like poetry, it's a shame you can't sound it out loud. So let's get to work on that. And he challenged me by making me read my own poetry in front of a class. And oddly enough, there was so much pressure reduced, anxiety pressure reduced, that I could do it. And so he had me write out in poetic form anything I wanted to communicate.
Oh.
And it was a very, very effective system for him and me.
Yeah, and I have one final question. Doing a lighthearted pieces on voicing, people who voice different types of things.
We call it voice acting.
Voice acting, yes.
Yeah.
How often do you play with people on the telephone? If you're talking with someone on the phone, do you ever get the urge to use one of the voices?
No, I'm very careful. I once used the Darth Vader as a CB handle in the old days, driving across the country, and it freaked out a few truck drivers, So I said, I'll stop doing that.
Well, how often do you get people saying, James, would you please record my phone answering message for me?
Often, and I'm often happy to oblige. What I can't do is read your station identification, because CNN owns my mouth for that.
All right. And children, is that a special pleasure for you to work with kids?
To work with him, I have a 12-year-old, and it's always important for me to do things that are relative to him. And so movies like The Sandlot, I think I had 10 lines, but I had a chance to work with kids, and the theme of their imagination and the monster fascinated me too.
James, I have a question about some of the early part of your life. You were in the military, not just any part of the military. You were in the Cold Weather Training Command.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Great. We could grow beards, and we slept in snowbanks, and learn when to shiver and when not to shiver.
Was your family surprised when you went into that branch of the Army?
No. I was the first member of my family to ever go to the military service, but the infantry was the real Army, and that's what they expected.
Now, you played a military man also in a classic Stanley Kubrick film, Dr. Strangelove.
My very first film, yeah. I played a young bombardier lieutenant, and all the lieutenants in that plane besides Slim Pickens were, young. They ate donuts all day, That's all they did, and they'd probably all Harvard graduates, and that was Kubrick's comment, and they were all from different races. The American melting pot in that one plane.
When you made that, did you have any idea that was going to become a movie classic?
No, one never does. No.
Yeah. Well, when you went to South Africa for this film, I'm just wondering, how recognized were you when you went there?
Good question, because Charles Dutton and I, being African Americans, the TV series we've appeared in all are shown in South Africa. So we were household names, and I was called O.M. James, Uncle James.
Were you surprised by that, or did you really know what to expect when you went over there?
I was surprised, yes. I mean, to drive along the highway and somebody's reaching out of their car at 50 miles an hour trying to shake hands with you, Gunter Kende, I was surprised, yeah, and pleased, of course. I'm pleased that, I guess, that so many people had TV sets. I didn't think they did.
Now, I'm not sure how big the film industry is in South Africa, but the actors that you worked with, the local actors, how grateful were they for the experience? And do you find them asking you a lot of questions about Hollywood?
You're right, the industry is not big yet, but it will be, because for some time now, all of Southern Africa have drawn from the pool of talent, in not only actors but also technicians. they're drawn from there. And I was in Zimbabwe years ago and worked with most of the guys, including my stunt double, were from South Africa. So the talent is there. The actors are all stage trained, you know. So and I think people like Athol Fugard in the Market Theatre helped to make that possible. And black and white actors, all stage trained, and so I understood that.
Do you find a lot of people asking you how to get a SAG card?
No. I think the whole ambition thing is quite different over there.
Really?
People don't assume to reach wealth and fame and stardom the way I think young people tend to assume here. You know?